Loblaw has released its February food inflation report, and it includes a warning about the impact of tariffs that could be on the cost of your groceries.
Yeah, it was something a lot of people are talking about. Affordability was definitely a part of the campaign and issue there. Let's get a conversation going about this morning. Joined live by Sylvain Charlebois, the professor and the director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie. Okay, Professor, appreciate you joining us this morning. What is this going to mean to consumers and when?
Yeah, so thank you for having me back. I know you had a late night last night, but people are still thinking about groceries still and the cost of living. And obviously, Monday or next week, the March 4th deadline is going to be top of mind. We actually don't know what's going to happen. And if we do see tariffs on Canadian goods going to the U.S. and vice versa, food prices will likely be impacted, obviously. And I'm thinking about the fresh section of the grocery store, produce, particularly this time of year. We're very vulnerable right now. We do import a lot of products from the U.S., very few Canadian alternatives in produce. So we are expecting a bit of a bump there as a result of tariffs, if they do happen.
Yeah, that's the question, right? It seems like day to day, we don't really know because the president seems to change his mind on when or if. So, of course, we continue to stay on top of that. When it comes to the food inflation report, though, it looks as though it's described as moderate for February. So then what can you tell us about some of the factors behind that?
Well, the GST holiday did help. There's evidence of that. We don't know exactly what we're going to get for the month of February and March. We are expecting an uptake. We are still predicting an inflation rate of 3 to 5% for the year 2025. But the biggest problem that we're facing right now is uncertainty. I'm starting to think that tariff threats are probably worse than tariffs themselves. Why? Because you're seeing a lot of food companies, both in Canada and the U.S., just staying on the sideline, waiting for things to unfold because they have expansions planned, they want new builds, but now they're just waiting to see exactly what's going to happen. We're hearing Canadian companies looking at moving to the U.S. just because of some of the issues that we're seeing from the White House. So the uncertainty is really hurting the economy, both sides of the border, and I think a lot of people are hoping that this will end soon.
No doubt about that. And obviously, so much of this plays into the supply chain, which you were talking about earlier, Professor. I see an article in the Star today talking about Loblaw offering suppliers a break on price increases when it comes to and connected to the tariffs here. So how will that sort of trickle down to basically the cash register?
Yeah, there's a couple of things happening right now up the food chain. One, there's that, of course, Loblaws and grocers in general, not just Loblaws, but most grocers are doing that. They're actually trying to support Canadian suppliers. But what I'm noticing also in Ontario and elsewhere is that we're seeing American multinationals offering discounts. There's a lot of heavy discounting going on, knowing that Canadians are looking for Canadian products. So if you want to keep your business, you got to offer consumers a good deal. So there's a lot of that going on right now, especially in Ontario.
So then, lastly, I was going to ask about the threat of tariffs. If we do, in fact, see them imposed as soon as next week, how soon could we as consumers start to feel it and see the change when we go to pick something up at the grocery store?
So first of all, I don't think we'll see tariffs affecting food. So I just want to throw it out there. I don't think that Donald Trump is silly enough to actually do that, because Americans will see it right away. In Canada, I would say fresh will likely be impacted first. So produce, also the freezer aisle, lots of American products there, where Canadian-friendly categories like bakery, most of the meat counter, and obviously dairy, eggs, those are categories that are likely not going to be impacted at all by what's going on right now with the White House.
Okay, well, it's a wait-and-see approach, isn't it? Professor Sylvain Charlebois, director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab. Always appreciate your insight. Thanks for joining us this morning.